The following program may contain mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Please visit theclayuniverse.com.
Subscribe.
Anthony was special. He was rare. He shared not just with the industry, but with the people. He was an extraordinary individual, and how he inspired me, how he made me want to create and to make and to cook was extraordinary. Anthony created a movement, not a following. And there's a very big difference between creating a movement and a following. He was like the most beautiful Pied Piper. He was extraordinary, and his understanding of food and life was mesmerizing. And all I can say is that I miss him. In memory of Anthony.
In creative arts therapy, we talk about hunger, not just for food, for relief, for quiet, for something that makes the day feel inhabitable. Anthony Bourdain built a life around appetite, flavor, heat, salt, motion. But he wasn't only a chef. He was a writer, a storyteller, a lover of the arts, books, films, paintings, music, a translator of experience. He could sit at a plastic table in a distant city and turn a bowl of soup into a meditation on exile, memory, and longing. Hunger, for him, was narrative, and not all hunger is about the mouth. When he took his own life in 2018, the culinary world mourned. The headlines tried to make sense of it. They listed his accomplishments, his travels, his voice. On the psychiatric unit, the conversation sounded different. No one talked about awards. They asked quieter questions. If he understood people that well, how could he not be understood? And underneath that, the question they rarely say out loud: if someone that alive could feel that alone, what does that mean for me? We don't rush to answer it. We sit with the discomfort of not knowing. Before television, there was the page. He wrote about kitchens and battlefields, about addiction without glamour, about shame without flinching. He told the truth in sentences that cut clear. Some of my tween and teen patients read him. They underline passages. They quote him in group, not because he was famous, because he sounded honest. And when you're 16 and exhausted by performance, honesty feels like oxygen. There are teens I work with who want to become chefs. They talk about kitchens like other kids talk about arenas. They like the rhythm, the pressure, the choreography of heat and timing. One patient said, "When I'm cooking at home, my brain shuts up." Another tween reported, "It's the only time I feel useful." So in Creative Arts Therapy Group, we tried something different. I asked them to write a recipe, not for food, but for surviving a night that feels endless. We borrowed Bourdain's structure: ingredients, steps, preparation. One patient wrote, ingredients, one honest text, one distraction that smells like garlic, music loud enough to interrupt the spiral. Instructions: chop slowly, stay in the room, eat something warm before making any decisions. Another patient wrote only this: prep time, 10 minutes at a time. Bourdain understood structure, beginning, middle, end. For some of my tween and teen patients, that structure feels stabilizing. Creative arts therapy isn't confined to canvas. It lives anywhere something is transformed. Raw becomes cooked, silence becomes sentence, experience becomes story. In a kitchen, you cannot fully disappear. Heat demands presence. A knife requires attention. Cooking is sensory regulation disguised as creation. Writing is emotional regulation disguised as narrative. Both say, stay, notice, name. Some of my patients wrestle with the contradiction. Bourdain saw the whole world. He told the truth. He made beauty out of ordinary things. And then they say, quietly, if he still struggled, what does that say about hope? We don't turn him into a symbol. We don't turn him into a warning either. We talk about something harder. A person can be gifted at describing the world and still struggle to describe their own despair. A person can feed millions and still not know how to nourish himself.
Bourdain asked me for help. He asked me for help, and I'm like, yes!
What did he say?
He said, I'm fucking miserable. I'm miserable. How do you deal with this? And I was like, I've been waiting for this fucking phone call. Thank you. He said, you're successful. I'm successful. Do you find yourself suffering? And I go, absolutely, please. And then I called him, and this is what I mean when I say asking for help and receiving for help. That was a fucking hard. You know people that know Bourdain. I know his friends. I know his manager. You won't find a fucking person that will say a bad thing about him. That guy is he's so awesome. He's always looking out for you. He'll show up for you. Whatever you need, he'll take care of you.
He's an amazing guy. Very, very interesting guy. Very intense.
And so you can't find anyone. But I'm like, you're a fucking asshole, dude. You're an asshole. You murdered yourself. You murdered yourself. You killed someone. That person happened to be you, but you couldn't even show up for yourself. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting
It's okay,
real.
man.
Oh, fuck it.
Listen, I get it. You love the guy. I loved him too.
Both can be true, but inspiration does not require imitation. You can inherit someone's curiosity, their appetite, their experience, their courage in telling stories, without inheriting their ending. At the end of a group, I asked, if your life were a travel show, what episode are you in? One patient said, the one where everything goes wrong, but they keep filming. Another tween replied, Season 1, still figuring out the tone. Someone else shrugged, pilot episode, not sure if it gets renewed. We left it there, unfinished, because storytelling, like cooking, is iterative. You adjust the seasoning, you revise the paragraph, you try again tomorrow. Anthony Bourdain showed people how to be curious, how to taste what scares them, how to sit at unfamiliar tables and listen. That curiosity, that appetite for story, is something my patients recognize. We honor that, but we also practice something quieter, not just how to tell the world stories, but how to keep telling your own, even when the kitchen is dark, even when the page feels blank. What part of your story still deserves another chapter? Leave any thoughts in the comment section below, and please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and please stay safe.
Hello, this is Enrico, licensed creative arts therapist, New York State.